Okay, so here's what's happening. The shit is not charging. That's what's happening. The fucking shit is not charging. And I don't know what to do about it. No matter what I do, it's not charging. What the fuck is this shit? Shit is fucked up, man. Oh shit, this is the master. Oh shit. Son of a bitch. How the fuck was I supposed to jump on this thing? Your mama. Yo, what's up with this guy, man? Am I supposed to jump on the blades? Oh yeah, yeah. I'm supposed to jump on the blades. Shit. Shit. Come on. Yo, that was such bullshit, man. The fuck was that? Can't do it. Oh shit. Motherfucker, man. That's supposed to be Sonic the Hedgehog. These little red ones. That's supposed to be Sonic, but in red. Oh shit, that would've made me die. See? Look, Sonic the Hedgehog right here. You can tell by the nose. Oh shit. Oh my goodness. I just saved in the wrong spot too by mistake, man. Shit, I just saved in the wrong spot by mistake too. Damn, man. You see? Damn, man. Boy. Oh my goodness, man. Man, I tell you. Man, I tell you, man. Man, I tell you. Oh, shit. Hold on, I gotta hear this beat to make sure I don't want it. Or if maybe I do want it, but I gotta get it before this guy tries to put it on private. Never mind. Thank you for wasting my time. Okay, this is where we was up to, right? Hopefully. Yeah, I said those are Sonic the Hedgehogs. Come on, Sonic, man. Stupid Sonic the Hedgehog. What the fuck? Oh, there you go. Oh, no. We don't want to do all that. No, we do not. No, we do not. Oh, there you go. I was wondering how to do that shit. Oh, there it is. I was wondering where you were. Now, how the fuck would I do this? Oh, right here. What? There you go. Got it. Oh. Oh shit, I forgot to check the battery. You see the battery's still dying. Fuck, I don't know what to do with this shit. Motherfuckers, Motherfuckers don't wanna let my phone fucking charge because the enemy is on the resolve. Listening to my conversation every fucking day. And they be acting like, oh shit, you can't even hear the game the whole time. You're so fucking Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, boys. Sorry, boys. guy's still right behind me. Looking for any reason to bite me. Oh, he gets to eat the other fish. Oh, okay. Oh, that's what's up. You got any fish for me? Oh, he ate them. Oh, I see. I gotta keep him. I gotta keep him happy. If not, he's gonna eat me. I see. Okay. Eat this little red snapper. There you go. Can't let him eat the spicy. thing doesn't work no more. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, this way. This way. Save again. Gotta be saving every 5 minutes and shit. These are the new levels. I've never experienced them before. This is the first time, so let's see what they got for us in here. First level is called Dingy Drain Pipe. Oh, it's one of these. this shit. Shit wanna keep freezing. Phone don't wanna charge. Fuck that shit. I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll show you. Fuck that shit. What's this? X-Men 97 Season 2 trailer. Okay, I think we're gonna see that before I get up out of here. But first, let me see what this is about. No, I don't like that shit. Oh, who knows? That might be the one, right? That might be everybody likes. The ones that I don't like. What a coin. Hold up. Let's pick up the resolution. Apocalypse. Oh shit.
We gotta get the X-Men back to the 90s.
To the 90s.
Scattered across the past
What?
and the future.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. New York Comic Con weekend just happened recently. They dropped the X-Men 97 Season 2 trailer, one made online, so we'll break it all down because there is a lot of new footage and Easter eggs they introduced. Most of this is based from like the next couple of eras in the comics, so they kind of pick and choose from a couple different comic book runs that happened after the original 90s eras that they just adapted during Season 1 in the previous X-Men animated series arcs. Now I finally have an excuse to use my Magneto helmet again. Of course, I will be doing all the episode videos when it does release next year. They said it's releasing summer 2026, which basically means June. That's when I would expect it, sometime like middle, maybe later in June if it gets delayed by a couple weeks. And the other really amazing news is they said that they were also working on getting Season 4 and Season 5 locked down. Like, already renewed it for Season 3, like they're in the middle of working in Season 3, but they're already talking about doing Season 5. So hopefully they'll at least do 5 seasons of this brand new revival of X-Men the Animated Series. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. Just starting at the beginning of the trailer. So the trailer starts in the style of the Season 1 trailers, if you remember, where you're inside someone's real-life 1990s era bedroom watching a CRT TV with a VCR player and VHS tapes from the original series playing, as if you're watching those original tapes, because they did release it on home video, but because it was the 90s when they were releasing it, they released it on VHS before they released it on DVD. Let me know in the comments if you actually owned the original VHS tapes they released for that. You could actually go out and buy those on eBay right now. Also, there's a little bit of paraphernalia and merch around the CRT TV too. This is actually an action figure that they released for the original animated series that you can also now still buy on eBay. Probably kind of expensive though. The actual
I had that.
Picture over to the other side of the TV here is the one that they had during the Season 1 promos. It's the picture from the Wolverine meme in the original animated series. Like it was part of an original actual episode that people just picked.
Yeah, I've been using this meme right here since like 2015. So they 10 years late.
Got and turned into a meme over years. So there are probably a lot of younger people that never saw the original episodes and just remember this from the meme, but it was from an actual episode. Hugh Jackman actually recreated this meme in real life for Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, he didn't use the Cyclops picture for it. They used it for a different type of promo, but it was him still doing the meme. It wasn't in the actual movie. It was just for the promos, but it was still great.
I got Wolverine copying me, okay? And in case you don't know, he's an Illuminati bitch boy, Rainbow. He did a whole video praising Bill Gates to depopulate the world. But anyways, yeah, he copied me too. Yes, Wolverine is copying me. Yep, I said it.
You also notice that they do the previously on X-Men, this time narrated by Wolverine, because that was a big trope of the original animated series, which they brought back for the X-Men 97 episodes. I was really happy about that.
Previously on X-Men.
Previously on X-Men.
Then they start with the sound of someone putting in a VHS tape and the original logo, clips of the original series playing from the animated series of the original Apocalypse arc, because Apocalypse is basically like the big guy during season 2.
Yeah.
All across the...
And before he says it, I'll say it. Apocalypse disappeared into time, and they never resolved the fucking issue in the TV show because the TV show ended. But Apocalypse was there. He kidnapped everybody. Jean Grey, Professor Xavier, Magneto, Psylocke, a bunch of psychic characters. And then he did some shit. And then Bishop went chasing him. And when he tried to like his armband was messed up to travel in time with. So when Bishop tried to tackle Apocalypse, Apocalypse disappeared. That was the last we seen of him. We don't know where he went. Right? And then Bishop freaking disappeared. We don't know where he went. And then the rest of the team came back to our time, where they from. And then everybody was all disoriented. And then they changed the art style of the TV show. And then the show got canceled. And then they said that Professor Xavier was sick, and that he had to go with Lilandra, his girlfriend, his alien girlfriend. And then the show ended. Everybody was crying. All the characters, Jubilee, Storm, and then it ended. And then like 3 years later, they popped up with the fucking movie X-Men Part 1 with Hugh Jackman, and they never resolved what the fuck happened after that. I was like, these people are dickheads, man. But of course, they didn't have money. They lost ratings. Stan Lee sold Spider-Man to Sony, China. He also sold the Avengers to Disney. That's how you got the Avengers movies. And he sold the X-Men to Fox. That's why Disney had to buy Fox from Fox. And now they got the X-Men now, 20 years later, whatever. And what else? And Iron Man went over there, and the Hulk went over there to Universal. And that's what was going on.
Timeline, the past, present, and future of Apocalypse, based on different comic book runs, is survival of the fittest and mutant supremacy. So Apocalypse is different from someone, say, like Magneto, who also believes in mutant supremacy, like Brotherhood of Mutants. Magneto, that was his whole thing during season 1, is that Apocalypse is so hardcore, he makes Magneto seem like an old softie. Apocalypse believes that only the strongest mutants should survive, so he has no problem killing weaker mutants, whereas Magneto would not like that. Like, he wants all mutants to survive. As the name implies, Apocalypse has no problems bringing about a mutant apocalypse, which you're kind of seeing happen across the timeline when we see him in the distant future with Cyclops and Jean Grey when they get stuck there. When they get stuck in the distant future at the end of season 1, they're basically seeing what happens to Earth if Apocalypse is not stopped in the present. But really the big thing here with some of the clips from the end of season 1 are to set up Gambit's return. So that's why he ends on the line, so much death, because he's going to resurrect Gambit as his horseman of death like he does in the comics. There are a lot of theories that in present day they're adapting the Blood of Apocalypse storyline, where he literally tries to use his blood to bring back help mutants. Also, when he calls the mutants of present day his children, that's because he's so ancient, he's one of the first mutants, depending on which comic book run you're reading. The series, X-Men 97, X-Men the Animated Series, presents him as the original mutant, though. So it's a Genghis Khan kind of situation, where over the centuries, he just has so many offspring that his genetic material just slowly spreads by the events of present day. Even the X-Men have a little bit of genetic material that they share in common with Apocalypse. So technically, they are kind of his children, but like many, 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 many centuries removed. When you hear the maniacal laughter in the background after Apocalypse says that, that's Mr. Sinister, who at the end of season 1, Jean Grey basically used her Phoenix powers to rip all the genetic enhancements out of his body that he'd given to himself over the centuries. When they start the new season 2 footage, in the way that they got a couple costume changes during season 1 across different eras, like the 90s costume, then they wore the original OG costumes for a little bit at the end of the season. They also changed costumes again, now to the Frank Quitely designed costumes in Grant Morrison's run. Usually what they do, though, is they adapt the versions of costumes for the comic book arc that they are adapting for whatever part of the season.
This one time, I remember Marvel adapted my penis as the costumes for the X-Men.
Same Bishop voiceover from the end of season 1 where he met with Forge and they talked about the X-Men being lost across the timeline for some reason, the past, present, and future, and started to try and figure out how to find them and rescue them, because both Forge and Bishop, longtime time travel based characters in the canon of X-Men and X-Men 97. Then they jump back to the distant past to show Magneto and Professor X's team in the original version of Apocalypse before he'd become a villain. They see what might be Kang's base in the past. There are some Kang references later in the trailer, so I don't know if they've changed the Kang storyline. I think that Kang was supposed to be a big character during the original version of Season 2, but this is before Bo DeMeo, the original showrunner, got fired, and it's also before Jonathan Majors got fired as the live-action version of Kang. So I don't know if they pulled back on their Kang storyline during Season 2, but the whole idea is that Apocalypse gets most of his advanced technology in the distant past from both Kang and from the Celestials, so we'll see how much of that they write into Season 2. Part of the idea is that Apocalypse himself isn't like an absolute genius in the distant past like in ancient Egypt era, is that he found Kang's technology. That's why you see the Sphinx ship later in the trailer. That's Kang's ship that he brought from the distant future. His really advanced suit that he wears in present day and during the original animated series was given to him by the Celestials when he made a bargain with them. Celestials, I've come to bargain.
Allow me to answer your question. Here is the axis of time.
Rogue then touches some advanced technology in the ancient past. Notice that Beast is very skeptical, like he has that weird look on his face, like, what is this?
Yo, Rogue, she can touch and drain me all she wants, huh? Mon ami, mon ami.
Doing here, this doesn't belong in ancient Egypt. You notice Nightcrawler is there with her. They've changed their suits, their costumes to cover themselves so they don't look so out of place in the ancient time period. There's a montage of everyone stuck in the past and the future. This looks like Professor X in the shirt that he was wearing at the end of Season 1. Notice, though, that he is standing on his own 2 feet. That might be because he's having a vision, because I don't think his legs have been healed. He had all kinds of crazy visions during Season 1 like this, like he foresaw Gambit becoming the Horseman of Death back on Earth. So maybe in the past, he's just foreseeing what's happening with the whole Apocalypse arc across the timeline. Like, we need to stop what's happening now, or else we will end up in this post-apocalyptic Apocalypse future. When you actually see this character approaching Kang's Sphinx ship, I can't quite tell who this is just because it's a little too blurry. Part of the idea in the comics is that Kang the Conqueror came from the Fantastic Four comics. He goes back to ancient Egypt to set himself up as a ruler over these people with the Sphinx ship to disguise himself as someone who should exist there but should not, because technically it's advanced technology. Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four learn what he's done, go back to try and stop him from changing the past. He flees back to the future to make all the puns possible. But part of the idea is that when he tries to escape to the future, his Sphinx ship is left in the past, and Apocalypse just steps in like, ooh, this looks nice, I think I'll take this. Then they jump to the distant future in this post-apocalyptic Apocalypse timeline. Notice how his tech has also evolved. He's constructed an advanced pyramid, because remember, he's from ancient Egypt, he grew up around the pyramids.
Illuminati.
This is basically his whole design vibe.
That's that Illuminati shit. You see, Illuminati. That's why Disney bought Fox, to get all of this story. Illuminati.
But also he has this giant head built into the top of the pyramid as if he's watching everybody on the planet 24/7.
You see?
There's a brief shot of Cyclops and Jean.
You see? And then he says Cyclops right after. You see? Illuminati, watching everything on the planet. Illuminati. Illuminati, giving you signals in their cartoons, and then they hit you with Cyclops.
Grey with their son, Nathan, who hasn't yet become Cable. This is from the comics too, but Strife was also a bigger part of that storyline in the comics. Well, I don't know if they're going to do Strife on the TV show.
Strife.
He is an evil clone of Cable. We will see what they do with that. Then they probably have some of my favorite jokes and references in the actual trailer itself. Cable has a very on-the-nose reference about getting the X-Men back to the 90s, because that's literally what they're doing with the whole series. It's a revival of a 1990s animated series, now in present day on Disney+. We're going back to the 90s. Hey, remember the 90s? My other favorite joke reference for 90s in the trailer was the Laserdisc reference at the end of this. Don't worry, we'll get to that too, because apparently Lady Deathstrike, huge Laserdisc fan. If you didn't realize, though, in the actual context of the story, the present day of their timeline in their X-Men universe, it is still the 1990s. At Marvel in real life, they call it the 90s universe, basically. It's part of the reason why they're able to use Spider-Man and Daredevil, like all these other characters get like Doctor Strange. They can do pretty much whatever they want because it's set in an alternate universe where things are the 1990s and it just looks vastly different from the MCU. Then we see Storm in her new suit. Notice she's wearing the gloves. Wolverine does his pose based on the cover of issue number 1 of his first solo Wolverine comic book series. This was Chris Claremont and Frank Miller, probably the most famous Wolverine comic book cover. Hugh Jackman has done this pose in real life a couple times, once during the classic X-Men movie era, wearing his black costume, then again recently during Deadpool and Wolverine promos in present day. Marvel literally released a 2-hour Wolverine heavy breathing montage of him doing this pose over and over again. It was super weird and hilarious.
Oi, we got the Australian here. He's eating kangaroo tail. Oi.
Notice he has his adamantium back in his body, and he says he's back because the last time we saw him, Magneto had ripped all the adamantium out of his body. Now, he didn't kill him or anything like that. He has a healing factor. He's going to eventually heal that damage, but it messes him up big time for a while. A couple more big 90s technology references. Jubilee with her Sony Walkman. This is also the 90s title to remind you that this is the 90s, so cassette tapes are still common during this era, even though CDs has started to become a big deal, because we get the...
I had the yellow Sony Walkman that you could close up, and it had the rubber around it, saying that it was waterproof, right? And then you could it would close up, and then you flip the other part on top of the play buttons, and it wouldn't open up by itself.
Laserdisc reference later. But Jubilee with the Walkman also reminds you of Star-Lord's Walkman, but the funny thing here is that Star-Lord's Walkman is actually an older model because it's from the 1980s. Jubilee's is a 1990s model. This person in the orange suit is Sunspot, who does finally have an actual suit. We see him using his actual powers later in the trailer while he's in his suit. Looks like they are at another party dancing, which they did multiple times during season 1. Wouldn't be Jubilee if she weren't trying to have a party somewhere. Then there's a really, really cool scene of Jean Grey working with Cyclops, making psionic Wolverine claws with her powers so that his eye blast reflects off of her claws and goes all over the place. This is all kinds of love triangle coded too. Like one of the long-standing tropes of
That's fucking corny as fuck. They should delete that scene right now.
X-Men stories is that it is a grand soap opera. Kevin Feige even referred to it as a soap opera. All these memes are going to make themselves during season 2. Like, most of these moments reference a lot of the memes from the classic era.
No, duh.
Them using their powers together this way is also a way more sophisticated...
That's the reason it's a meme. Because we are referencing what the fuck happened. Duh. This guy, man.
Sophisticated display of being able to combine their powers for greater effects, synergistic stacking effects. They started to get into this in the live-action MCU movies, but they're not quite on this level in the live-action movies yet. Maybe when we get to our new era of X-Men reboot movies in 2028 and beyond, like Marvel Phase 7 movies, then they'll eventually try to start working up to that. You also notice that it seems like they're back in present day in their Frank Quietly suits by this time, so like they made it back from the distant future. But then right after this, there's another scene of Nightcrawler, still in the distant future in those episodes, fighting all these acolytes of Apocalypse with his teleportation powers. Then it seems like we go back to present day, and this is Omega Red, not sure who he's fighting, but there's fire everywhere. This is Cable's metal arm that seems like it forms out of the time stream maybe. Then we see full adult Cable in present day. Then they finally show Colossus coming back in present day. Not really sure what he's been doing since the end of X-Men the animated series, but he wasn't around during season 1, so they'll explain where he's been in that small time jump.
On a mutant who cannot be trusted.
Then there's a brand new character based on the Joss Whedon run. So this is Danger, who is from Astonishing X-Men, where basically the Danger Room becomes sentient. So they're little...
Shout out to me. I've been talking about how the X-Men... No, I'm sorry. I've been talking about how in Gen V, with the Boys TV show, how they were doing some type of Danger Room type of training with Cypher. Supposed to be Professor Xavier type of character. And look, now they brung in Danger, the AI of the Danger Room. Shout out to me, man. I'm telling you, man. I just be bringing shit into fruit. I can't even get a thank you from all the fans, man.
Fighting the Danger Room, who's trying to get revenge on the X-Men based on the idea that they had been keeping it prisoner for them, forced to act as their training device all these years. And one of the big controversies of this arc is that Professor X had learned that the Danger Room had become sentient long ago, but never told anybody about it. There are a lot of comic book fans that saw this and also pointed out that Emma Frost was big during this arc. She's going to be a bigger character in Season 2, but I don't know how big she's going to be. They kind of set that up during Season 1. Speaking of the devil, Professor X comes back in present day with Polaris. She's actually going to be voiced by Neve Campbell, who broke big in the 90s, like so many 90s references here. She did big movies after the 90s, obviously, but the 90s was really when Neve Campbell first became a huge superstar. There are a lot of people that had questions about this when they said that Neve Campbell would be playing Polaris. People were confused if it was live action or animated. It's just for animation right now. We will see if she ever does a live action version of Polaris. Then there are a couple of brand new characters. This is Kid Omega. The reason why he's wearing a shirt with the Phoenix logo on it is because he's destined to eventually become the future host of the Phoenix Force. He's an Omega level telepath. The other one here is Penance in her Penance form. I don't know how crazy they're going to get with her backstory on the show, but her real name is Monet St. Croix. The Penance that you see here in red is just a second form that she manifests. She actually has a ton of powers: healing factor, flight, telepathy, telekinesis, life force fusion. When she fuses with other people, the combined forms have different powers. And when she's in her Penance form, like we see in the trailer here, while she's in this state, she has red diamond skin, think Emma Frost, diamond form, telepathic resistance, which Emma Frost also has while she's in diamond form, razor claws, think Wolverine adamantium claws, and then later we see Archangel.
Just give her everything. Give her everybody's powers. That's corny. They did that already. They did that in the TV show with Nick Fury, Secret Invasion. At the end, they put that girl from Game of Thrones, and they gave her all the superpowers. That shit was trash, man.
Well, it's Psylocke back. This is inside the X-Mansion. This seems like the classic roster of X-Factor that we saw referenced during Season 1. This is also Wolverine with the team, because Wolverine was also with X-Factor in the comics for a little while. Then there's another big moment here where you actually see Magneto with the Phoenix Force manifesting reflected in his eyes.
What?
So I think this is actually meant to be a big twist, and it's not Jean Grey Phoenix that he's seeing. It might be Kid Omega Phoenix.
Ooh.
Like, that's the big twist. Otherwise, they would just show you Jean Grey in Phoenix form.
Ooh.
As if they're treating it as a big twist, the way they do it in the trailer, like, he's seen the Phoenix, but not the Phoenix that you expect. Then this, I believe, is meant to be Apocalypse as he appears in the distant future in that crazy-looking pyramid from that post-apocalyptic timeline based on the Nathan Summers Mother Ascani arc, and it shows him in various forms across the timeline. This is present day in this next one, then this is the distant past in the last one, then they show the Season 2 logo, and it shows Wolverine, Sabretooth, Morph, and Lady Deathstrike working together, looking through a bunch of CD tapes, making a bunch more 90s technology references.
Digital video discs.
I prefer Laserdisc.
Like I said, apparently Lady Deathstrike, huge stan of Laserdisc. We'll hang with her next weekend and see what kind of stuff she has on Laserdisc. The other part of the joke here too is that she's making fun of DVDs, because during the 90s is when DVDs started to take off. Like, I don't think I got my first DVD till like 1999. Like, it was the very end of the 90s, because they were very expensive when they first started. But one of the other deep cuts here is that some of the original X-Men movies with Hugh Jackman, the live action movies, were released on Laserdisc, as were some of the X-Men cartoons and old Marvel comic book X-Men stuff. So there were some X-Men stuff that was released on Laserdisc. All the discs themselves are just data discs on different mutants like Phantom X. Can't read all of them here, like Winter Soldier is on here, Silver Fox. There's a bunch of others, but the way the trailer is cropped, the people that recorded in the actual hall, like, you just cut off a little bit of these names here. There's a lot going on here. Cannot wait to see episodes come back, and I'm so happy that they've already confirmed Season 3, Season 4, and basically Season 5. Like, the ink isn't dry on Season 5 yet. They're still signing the deals for it, but it sounds like they will do it. What'll probably happen is they'll drop a shiny HD version of this trailer next spring when Daredevil Born Again Season 2 episodes are happening. There was a bunch of other footage, a bunch of other stuff that happened at New York Comic Con, so I'm trying to do videos for everything. I just did a big Daredevil Born Again Season 2 trailer that also leaked out. Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter herself, leaked the Daredevil Born Again Season 2 trailer like a champ. Click here to watch my video for that, and click here for all my other New York Comic Con trailer videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Okay, how about that copyright strike that we don't want? Anyway, I'm out of here. Who knows? I might do Final Fantasy 12 next or some shit. I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. You have to give me some time to figure it out. Oh, Memphis Bleak and Jim Jones. I guess I'll go hang out with Memphis Bleak and Jimmy Jones. Jiminy Jimmy Jones. See, now my phone is charging. You see? Because I took it off that other thing. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with it. I think it's because it's pulling too much energy from the phone. Excuse me, I think the phone is pulling too much energy. Yeah, this bullshit fight between Joe Budden's co-host on the podcast, that shit is all bullshit. Queen's Flip versus Mark Lamont Hill, the Illuminati Rainbow. And then Queen's Flip mother is another Illuminati Rainbow from Governor Cuomo's Illuminati. You know, Pizzagate, Small Hat, Epstein and all that shit. And y'all just keep falling for it. You know why? You know why you keep falling for it? Because you fucking stupid as fuck. That's why. It's stupid. It's stupid. You're so stupid. You're so stupid. And it's fucking sad, man. You just keep falling for it. Damn. Tekashi 6ix9ine being disrespectful. Being super duper disrespectful. Okay, what's the other one? This one right here. Episode 5. Oh boy. I think that's the same shit, you know that? It's loading up twice, back to back. Oh boy. I think I am out of